Noah, and today I am here with John Arizumi, or interviewing my papa, John Arizumi. My first question is, when were you born and where?
I was born right after World War II in 1946 here in Honolulu, Hawaii, and I grew up in Manoa Valley.
My second question is, what was your childhood like when you were growing up here in Hawaii?
When we were growing up, there was a mixture of a lot of poor people from the war because we lived where the Manoa housing area was. And we lived just above, right next to the Manoa housing. And then above Woodlawn, there were the more wealthier people. So it was a mixture of rich and poor people growing up.
My third question is, what college did you go to and what did you major in?
I went to the University of Hawaii almost by mistake, and I majored in mechanical engineering almost by mistake.
My fourth question is, what made you choose to become a mechanical engineer?
Senior in high school, in public school, we didn't have that much career guidance counseling. And all of my friends were racing cars and they had cars. And so I thought about being an auto mechanic, except I was following some of the smarter students taking all of the calculus, the trigonometry, the physics, and the chemistry. And so by maybe happenstance, my senior counselor called me in my senior year and had asked me what I was planning to do when I graduate. And I told her that I was going to a technical school to learn about automobile mechanics. And she was kind of upset because she thought, why am I taking all these classes to become an auto mechanic? And I says, so she said, why don't you try mechanical engineering? And so last minute, I took the exam at the University of Hawaii. I got into the College of Engineering, and that's how I ended up graduating as a mechanical engineer.
My fifth question is, what was your first job after college?
Well, I graduated in 1968, and in 1968, the Vietnam War was full bore, and we were going to be classified as 1A. In other words, we were going to be called up to serve in the Army. And in order for me to continue my graduate school, I went and worked at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard in the nuclear engineering department. And I got a defense deferment because that was critical to the war. So I was working at nuclear engineering department at Pearl Harbor with a defense deferment so I could continue my graduate school at night.
My sixth question is, how did you meet Nana or Janice Arizumi, and when did you guys get married?
I met Nana at Pearl Harbor. She was working in a different department. And we started dating, and then about a year later, maybe a year and a half later, we got married, and this was in 1971.
Were you when you first started working at Carrier Hawaii?
After I left the shipyard, I was lucky enough to get a motivational record from one of the senior mechanical engineers where I worked at nuclear engineering. And he saw that I was searching for something, and he gave me that motivational record, which was Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. And he set me on a career path that you have to find something that you enjoy, when you get up in the morning, you look forward to it. Like when you go fishing on Saturday or go play soccer on Saturday, you look forward to the game. Well, work should be like that, where you get up in the morning and you're excited about your job. And so I decided to set a goal to find a job that I thoroughly enjoy. So as soon as I left Pearl Harbor, I went to work for a mechanical consulting engineer. And you learn all the different disciplines of mechanical engineering: plumbing, air conditioning, fire protection, sewage treatment plants, all the different disciplines. And then of all the disciplines, I decided to specialize in air conditioning and refrigeration. And so I pursued a career at Carrier because they were the distributors for air conditioning and refrigeration. They were the biggest in air conditioning and refrigeration equipment.
The question is, what made you decide that you wanted to become the owner of Carrier Hawaii?
Well, part of that career path, as soon as I started at Carrier, I worked there like about 6 months, and I went back to the factory for the first annual distributor meeting because we were the Carrier distributors in Honolulu. And I met all these different engineers, And the thing about it is, they were all excited, they were all positive, and they were all upbeat. And the district manager from Carrier said, you know, do you realize these are all mechanical engineers? Because I had told him, he asked me why I came to Carrier. And I said, in the engineering discipline, it was like doom and gloom. Everybody's not really, you know, not really happy in their career. And I wanted to get away from that. So I decided I was going to specialize in air conditioning and refrigeration. And I wanted to do something different. And so when he said these are all engineers and they were all excited about what they were doing, I said, I can live with this. So when I came home, I told Nana, I said, I found my dream job. Carrier will be my career. And that's the beginning of it. This was in September of 1975.
How excited were you when you found out that you're going to become the owner of Carrier Hawaii?
Well, I didn't find out I was going to become the owner of Carrier Hawaii. As I started and I said I had this dream job, the company, when we were working for it, the managers of the company didn't realize what an immense potential the Carrier product line had. And I saw it. And so what I did was I researched it and find out that, you know, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and these guys were just wasting away. This company was barely making any money. So when I went back to the factory air conditioning, the factory engineering training, I started to set up my goal. And that's one of the most important things for anybody is you have to have a goal, a passionate goal, something that you really believe in. And so I wrote down my goal in one simple sentence, and I kept that in my wallet. And I kept it ever since until I owned the company 14 years later.
What was the biggest challenge growing the business Carrier Hawaii?
The biggest challenge wasn't growing the business. The biggest challenge was buying the company. We didn't have any money. My partner, Robert, you know, we just had the passion that we wanted to own the company. And so we pursued it. We went through every bank in Honolulu, and nobody would finance the loan until finally, you know, my banker who died about 10 years ago, and his senior banker, the vice chairman from Bank of Hawaii, risked it, and we really bought the company on a signature. And we just had to work our butt off to pay off the loan. And that was the biggest feat, was being able to finance the company.
My final question that I'll be asking you today is, what advice do you have for anyone wanting to start their own business?
You have to have the passion of what the business is going to do. You have to provide, your business has to provide a service that people want. Because if people want service, the service that you provide, then you have the potential to own your own business and grow the business. And what you do provide, what service you provide in your business, it's important that you enjoy doing it. Because if you enjoy doing it, just like playing soccer, if you love the sport, you get good. And if you get good, people are going to go to you because you're the best, right? And so that's the most important thing, is have the passion to do what you're doing. Not just take a job because it pays a lot of money. You're going to be very unhappy with just money and no happiness. I mean, not enjoying the job.
Thank you, John Arizumi, for letting me interview you today.
Thank you, Caleb Kureiwa.